Welcome to self discovery, self exploration, self expression, self education, all that stuff in one place. This podcast episode is going to be about personalized support. I've been really challenging myself to not use other people to process my lessons that I'm learning. Um, Before it wasn't a conscious thing, it would be an avoidance. I wouldn't want to deal with whatever it was I was dealing with. I wouldn't want to talk about it to other people. I don't want to burden them with my problems, so to speak. Uh, but what I'm constantly seeing play out is the relationship that I had with my mom as a child and going into adulthood until I shut that shit down. I'm seeing that now play out in a different way. So it's not coming from my mom anymore because I don't even know that we have boundaries necessarily in regards to how we communicate. But the way that my mom and I communicate now is very healthy. We don't talk near as much as we used to. I remember I call my mom every day. I love my mom to death, but we really don't need to talk every day. Um, yeah, the quality of conversations is much better. And the time that we get together, whenever we are sharing a meal, or if we're just hanging out, or in the same space, or getting high together, like all parents do with their children, right? It's been healthy. So I've resolved that relationship, but I've not resolved my that mother relationship with other people. Now, I talk about emotional boyfriend and being that to a lot of my female friends. Um, and I'm also that when it comes to something positive for positive people. So I have this whole, um, I don't even want to call it an alter ego, but it's an extension of me, H on my chest. And it's through the relationship dynamic that I had as a youth with my mom that I've developed this seemingly infinite capacity for emotional support. I don't get drained by it. And no matter how often someone needs to come to me for a reoccurring pattern of emotional support, I've historically been able to provide that to them. Today is different. So I'm a day late on posting this podcast episode. I usually record it Monday night, Tuesday morning, whatever, and upload it on Tuesday. So it's the following day. It's a Wednesday. Something had been wanting to come through me, and it just felt stuck. And I think that today, yesterday actually, something pushed me over the edge of understanding what that something is. And then today it was kind of reinforced as well. But well, shit, it was reinforced twice now that I'm thinking about it. Damn. All right, universe, I got you. I hear you. uh, but yesterday, the reason that this didn't get uploaded is because I ended up going to lunch with a friend, and that turned into me doing a bunch of other things, and almost had sex with someone new, new potential partner. But I had a herpes outbreak. And it's not painful or anything. It's just annoying because it's there. I know it's there, and it 100% cock blocked me yesterday. You know, I did not want to have to say that, but I had to let her know. Say, hey, I'm having a herpes outbreak. She's like, okay, well, that's fine. You know, I trust you to let me know what you need to do and keep me as safe as you can. It felt so good to hear that. But side note, like that's me deviating away from the conversation here. We're talking about personalized support. I have created an entire organization, a global organization that allows for me to replicate my familiar childhood trauma, right? So I call it a trauma response. Something positive for positive people was created out of my trauma response. And I look up to and I identify with a lot of the clusters of characteristics that heroes have, superheroes, the protagonists in a lot of anime. These people identify particularly as protectors, right? They overall save people, is what you would say at the end of the day. So this is my superpower, so to speak. The tool of something positive for positive people, that space that it is, has become a place for me to extend my emotional support. This is where I get to be a hero. Now, I have a saying that when you prioritize the needs of your spirit, then the needs of the body take care of themselves, right? My mission is a manifestation of my spirit, my soul on this planet. So while a person's soul tends to be, it tends to look as if it's within a body. It's not just in our body, it's in our expression, it's in what it is that we do, it's in how we communicate, it's in how people communicate with us, it's in our aura, our vibe, the energy that we're radiating, and what we create. And so I created something that is the mission of my soul. So when you look at my soul, you might see something positive for positive people. When you look at something positive for positive people, you get a glimpse into my soul, right? So as far as prioritizing the spirit, it looks like prioritizing extending emotional support in a way that aligns with that mission. This is how I heal from my trauma response, right? I'm not going to use this for malice. I'm not going to manipulate people who open up to me and share very intimate details about their life and use that against them when they upset me or when I want something and they're not giving it to me. That trait of integrity is also something that heroes have. And I never want to be someone who doesn't have integrity. I never want to compromise my values. I never want to compromise my identities as a hero. Like that's how I see myself, and I have to see myself that way, regardless of how arrogant, narcissistic, whatever that may seem to be. To people on the outside looking in, that might be how it sounds, but to people on the inside out, like who I've been a hero to, like I understand that they'll attest to that. But it's really not about what other people think; it's about what I think. And if I genuinely believe myself to be that, to be someone who has integrity, to be someone who is a protector, who utilizes their trauma response to serve in a way that propels us toward a better good for people in their life, however that may look, then yeah, that's who I am. That's what I am. So the reason that I use the phrase personalized support is because I'm on a mission to use my superpower, emotional support, to integrate mental health resources into STD prevention efforts. I use my emotional support to make therapy accessible. So as I do that, it fuels me. It drives me. Anything that propels the mission forward is something that energizes me. So as long as I'm in alignment, as long as I'm on track with what that goal is, with what that mission is, and I'm participating in the process, right? And we're making the progress and opportunities are being created, then there's no such thing as burnout. Burnout is irrelevant when your spirit is being prioritized, because the needs of the body, like the body may burn out, but not the spirit, if as long as it's doing what it's supposed to do. Now, when you prioritize your body at the expense of the spirit, then that's a different situation. And so what I look at this as is I provide emotional support to generally people who have herpes. And I think I start to experience hints of and symptoms of burnout when it goes beyond that. And I'll give an example. I used to have a very hard boundary of not engaging with people, women, partners, who found me through my podcast. And I let that go because it seemed like, this is like the only way I meet people. There are some really dope women that I've met that I'm attracted to, that there seems to be a mutual connection with. Why not? And most of those, I will say most of those, have somehow ended in a not good way, in a way that left me feeling like burnt out. Burnout is probably what the equivalent is of how I felt meeting people who find my podcast because they heard another podcast or someone told them about me, and yeah, that's it. So when my emotional support for people with herpes extends beyond that into emotional support as someone perhaps looking at me as a potential partner or coming to me for something beyond emotional support, maybe something that a therapist needs to give them, or if they come to me essentially because there is someone that they want something from that they aren't getting, and because I'm so freely and willy-nilly offering this emotional support in this space, it's almost like people are taking advantage of stepping into that space and taking what they need and trying to personalize it for themselves. And I've never been big on having boundaries for myself. I've always been big on, I'm going to help everybody that I can. And the reality is I need to help everybody that I can. I say that two different ways. Helping everybody that I can means anyone who crosses paths with me who needs something, I'm going to make an effort to help them. Helping everybody that I can looks like helping people in the range of what my resources are, right? Of what I've committed to helping people with. Like, I can help these people doesn't mean I should be helping these people, because again, if people find me because they are in need of support for their herpes diagnosis, I always take it a step beyond that and express curiosity and interest in the person, because I believe that when you remind someone who they are, then that thing that happened to them is able to be more looked at objectively, and people can begin to go on their healing process. And I think that what's being reciprocated here, now that I'm speaking it out loud, is when people appear to see me or express interest in me beyond something positive for positive people, even though they make their way into my life through something positive for positive people, it's me prioritizing my body. My body feels good. I feel the sensations in my body of being seen become prioritized, and I want more of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Where it becomes a problem is when it's prioritized again over the needs of the spirit. So the body is benefiting at the expense of the spirit, so to speak. So, and I'm a heterosexual male. So when I get requests from men even for extensive emotional support beyond a herpes diagnosis, and when it becomes a pattern of like, all right, I've given you what you need, why do you keep repeating the pattern and coming back for more of that thing that I've already given you? When it becomes that's when I burn out. Or when it becomes blatant that someone hurt a person and they come to me for what I've always been giving out through something positive for positive people, emotional support for people who have herpes, and then maybe I cross a boundary at some point and it extends into their personal life as well, that they feel like what they really need from the person who may have done harm to them or the person that they may have harmed is what they come to me for. And I'll give you an example of oftentimes this is a pattern of mine. Women that I'm friends with, women that I date, they'll be hurt by a partner at an emotional level. They don't feel blank, whatever it is. Oftentimes it's heard, seen, I don't know. It's any of those things. And me having on public display demonstrated emotional intelligence by offering emotional support to people living with herpes, and it extends a little bit beyond that and into their personal lives. That makes them come to me and try to personalize it by perhaps like putting me in a situation where maybe they think that I need to prove myself to not be like, quote, most men, because I talk to women who dog men out as if I'm not a man, and that's perfectly fine. Go ahead, dog out men, that's cool. but at the end of the day, you're coming to a man for something that you really want from another man. And to me, that doesn't feel good anymore now that I have language for it, because that's what it's been. It's been women coming to me as like, oh, well, I can't get this from Dave, so, oh, Courtney's giving it away. Let me go get it from him. And I'm not going to give you that apology. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. That's not what you want. That's not where, this isn't the place to get that even. It's not what, and oftentimes, like, I offer the same kind of support. Whenever people reach out to me, I express curiosity in what their situation is. I express interest in what it is they got going on, and I just ask questions. And so if you come to me for that kind of support, and I do that very thing, I think that it's very important that you not try and personalize this beyond what it is, especially with people I haven't ever met before, with people who haven't demonstrated any real investment in Courtney, but just like an investment in H on my chest and what it is that I have to offer, what it is I had to give. Like, I'm gonna be honest, if unemployment hadn't happened, I would have probably had to stop doing something positive for positive people. But again, prioritize the needs of the spirit, and the body takes care of the rest, or the body's taken care of, right? So I've still been able to do this. I've been able to take care of myself and have like a few fun activities and things like that. But at the end of it all, I don't have a lot of like physical resources. So perhaps that's why my invisible, intangible resources seem to be so abundant, or they're so radiant from within me, because I mean, I don't dress well. I don't even have a car. I live in an apartment. It's nice on the inside. I look like shit on the outside, right? I got my PlayStation. I play video games with my friends. I train people at a gym to pay my basic bills. And then I do this nonprofit. Like, that's generally all I can do right now. And this is me prioritizing the needs of the spirit. And as I stick to that mission of utilizing my superpower of emotional support to provide that to people who are struggling with herpes stigma, wanting to expand that to people who need support with mental health resources, I find myself being distracted. When I feel symptoms of burnout, it's because I'm distracted by the body's needs of wanting sex, of wanting connection, of wanting companionship. And as you stay on this mission, I'm going to find myself in spaces. I'm going to find myself around people I'm attracted to, who are attracted to me. But I'm also going to find myself in spaces with people who, there's this, I got to anchor myself in reality. Some people that I'll probably never meet. Some people that probably just think they want something from me, but really they want it from somebody else. I'm just the next best thing. And being the next best thing doesn't feel good to me. And when I'm having that come up for myself, that's an example of eating away at my spirit. So like, I can't play emotional boyfriend in hopes of getting laid or having companionship or connection at the expense of my soul, while I prioritize the needs of my body. Like, no matter what, my body's always on a decline. Like, since I was born, my body started to develop, wither away. That's just what's going to happen. I'm not my body, I'm not my mind. I am the experiences, the actions. I forget diminished, I don't remember the name. I would have to pull up my phone, and that would make a bunch of noise. But there's this quote that is, I'm not attached here. I'm only my experiences. Something along those lines. I forget. But in my experiences, man, I'm like looking back, and I feel stupid. I feel real stupid. I feel like I've played myself for a lot of years, and it hasn't just been something positive for positive people. I think that because this has been something that has been more in line of my expression, my identities, who I am, it's become more clear. And I've been in therapy, and I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and work, and I can look back on damn near all my relationships, and I've been the next best thing, even in my friendships with women. And it sucks. I don't want to be that. And yeah, like because I've been so, and I think I've mentioned this on this podcast before, I've been so emotionally aware because that was my trauma. Like I had to be for my mom, for my caretaker. In order for me to get my childhood needs met, I needed to be super emotionally in tune, right? And it was completely extreme and over exaggerated in childhood. So now in adulthood, even in the most moderate ways, I am super in tune with what's happening emotionally around me. As a man, to be super in tune, a straight man at that shit's attractive. I've been in denial about it. I've been oblivious to it. I can't play stupid anymore. I recognize that perhaps my most attractive trait is my emotional awareness, my emotional intelligence even. I might be wrong about something, but I'm aware that there's something there. I may not be able to pinpoint it, but I can say, hey, there's something there. And with a little bit of curiosity, I can get to what it is. Now, when I continue to express this curiosity and support in the way that I always have, and then someone comes to me for quote emotional support, and then like I'm met with this combativeness, and it's happened consistently enough for it to be my pattern. So this is my pattern now that I have to break. When I'm recognizing that someone's coming at me with something that has nothing to do to me, I cannot try to save that person, because all I'm going to do is more harm. And I can be such a smart ass without any context, just not even intentionally. You know, I can't say to someone who, you know, is a survivor of sexual assault, who was seeking a pleasant experience with another man, who got the bait and switch because they talked about one thing and then ended up something else happening. And then, you know, as I try to be supportive in the way that I'm supportive, which is expressing curiosity and interest and asking questions and all that kind of stuff, as someone doing that, I can't, in 2021 at least, say to this person, okay, you know, you came to me for this, you didn't want this, and now you're wanting something different than what you originally came for, which is an apology, for instance. If you reached out for support, but now I'm in a situation where you feel like you're owed an apology, I don't think you want an apology from me. You want an apology from that person. And this is such a fucked up situation to be in, because as an ally of, I consider myself to be at least, an ally to sexual assault survivors, I've done my best to educate myself, and through the experiences of speaking to other women, speaking to people who, well, not speaking to, I'm sorry, but reading through posts that people share, my default support isn't always what a person needs. So when a person comes to H on my chest, something positive for positive people, for something that hasn't been proven to be something offered, and they get exactly what it is that we sell. Like Raising Cane's is a great example. Raising Cane's sells chicken strips. You can't go in Raising Cane's and ask for chicken nuggets. You can't ask for, you can get a chicken sandwich, but it's going to be chicken strips on bread. They got french fries and they got drinks. And they got that cane sauce. That cane sauce hella good. But to go to Raising Cane's and ask for a hamburger, you ain't going to be able to get that. Like there's another place that you have to go. So now, all right, well, you don't have hamburgers. What else do you have? Well, we got chicken strips. We can put it on bread, make it a chicken sandwich. Like, fine, I'll take that. But why don't you have hamburgers? That's how I feel, man. And it fucking sucks. It hurts. And I can't like bitch to the people about this, because they're in whatever space it is that they're in. And I don't want to devalue anybody's experience. So I find myself in situations often where it's not even, I have to engage, but I have to engage in the right way, or I have to disengage and I have to disengage the right way. But any action that I take is going to be the wrong action. So when people pull up to the Something Positive for Positive People drive-through, where we offer support for people who are navigating herpes stigma and supporting people in getting therapy, and then they ask for an apology from, you know, someone that they didn't have the desired experience, someone who failed to meet their expectations, for instance, for someone who continued to put them in this cycle of a trauma response or whatever. I don't sell apologies for other people. And to, like, I want to support people. I want to support everybody that I can, but I'm learning, fuck, dude, I can't. Like, I'm learning that people want to personalize my support. They want to package up my, quote, superpower and utilize it for themselves, however that may be, taking it in, or, like they want to be the one who's saved, the one who's protected. You know, I have friends who repeat patterns with partners where I'll be like, hey, you know, last time that you put yourself in this situation, this thing happened, you probably should disengage and not do that. And they're like, oh, no, it's different this time. And then it'll be the same thing. And I find myself again having to offer the same exact kind of support to them that I had to offer to them last time. And this is where, again, the burnout comes. And, you know, the more I talk through this and process it, like, the more it comes up. And there's no right way to go about this except for having boundaries for myself. So now, and I hate to do this, but it seems like now, all right, I absolutely do need to stop connecting with the women that I meet through my podcast beyond herpes support and mental health services inquiries, asking the questions and expressing curiosity. Like, I gotta stop offering up shit about myself. And even that, man, it gives me a fucking pain in my chest to not be able to connect with people in that way. Like, if you come to me for something that I have to offer and, you know, you just hit me with well, how are you? Like, I feel like now I gotta just be like, I'm fine. And that's where this is really, like, this is heading in that direction for me. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing until, I mean, obviously there's going to be evolutions, there's going to be transitions. Yay, that's what's up. But as a man, I don't have there's nothing out there that looks like my experiences that teaches me how to navigate this. I only have what my life experiences have been, what other women have shared with me, and the non-women people who have reached out to me for emotional support beyond what it is that I'm giving. And I have to, like, navigate this shit intelligently on my own based on experiences that I've had in the past. And those might not always all apply to the next person. Like, over this past probably month and a half, 2 months, I've had at least a dozen interactions that left me like, what the fuck happened here? To where it'll start out, oh, Courtney, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Your podcast has helped me a lot, da-da-da. And then it'll creep into, you know, that curiosity, I guess, being reciprocated in me. And then my dumbass becoming attracted and being like, oh, this feels great. I want more of this. And then somebody presents something on the table where we end up connecting more. And then out of the blue, something's expected of me that I had no idea was expected of me. The support that I offer is expected to be tailored to this particular person and their situation in that moment, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me. And then I do something wrong, or I say the wrong thing, and now I'm put in the position where I have to give the other person what it is they want from somebody else. And as of lately, like, I don't know what it is, but something in me has just been like, no, that doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like it's coming from a place of integrity. If I were to just say what it is to this person, all I'm going to be doing is enabling the behavior pattern to happen again. So challenging people looks like harm. And I can't do that. So somehow I got to create a boundary for myself that not only protects the people around me, because the people who are in this space, the people who need that support, are experiencing a symptom of burnout, Courtney. And I like to think that I'm always functioning at 100%, but truth be told, when I start to venture out or veer off of the path that I'm on, and this is where that man shit comes in. I don't think that this is inherently a toxic masculine trait, but the aspect of being logical, being rational, being focused, I feel like everything stems from emotion. Even this, like my desire or my will to see something positive for positive people actually make a change in the world. That comes from a place of having been hurt before. This whole who I am right now is a fucking trauma response. This is a trauma response. I want to help people. And like I said, I can help people, but it doesn't mean that I can help you. However I said, I don't even remember how I said it. But I absolutely, I'm seeing, because this reoccurring theme of needing to take care of myself keeps coming up. And I recognize now, like when I'm taking care of something positive for positive people, my spirit's taken care of. As I see the progression through the processes and, like I said, the opportunities being created, this is what success looks like. So as long as there's a continued progression of the success of my spirit, my body's good. And I've been meeting more women in real life lately as well. So why is it that I'm finding myself in situations where I'm again prioritizing my body needs over my spirit needs? And who knows like what other harm that's doing, right? So maybe my lack of success with online dating, or my lack of success in connecting with people through that I meet through something positive for positive people at that level, is just a sign that I'm not prioritizing my spirit. And this is like a spiritual rebellion. It's like, Courtney, this is not in line, right? And I'm never engaged with anybody who was in a bad place, at least at that point in time. But people can hide shit, and they do it very fucking well. I mean, I can do it. So there's no reason for me to suspect that someone else is incapable of hiding their true intentions or shielding themselves shielding themselves from me seeing them in the way that they really are. And man, like, to say this shit out loud, I'm angry at myself. I'm embarrassed. That's what I am. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to, go so hard into supporting other people and having boundaries, following their values, behaving in integrity. And for me, like, so many situations that I've been in, violated the integrity simply because of this little glitch in my system of values. So my emotional support is expressed through something positive for positive people, and it's extended to support for people who are living with herpes, navigating stigma, helping them with realizing that it's important to utilize mental health services. I want to send people on their healing journey. I don't want to heal them. I want for people to be able to walk the path. I just want to point people in the right direction, maybe hold their hand a little bit, but then I got to let go. And I recognize that not everybody wants to let go. Some people are like, wait, but everything I want is right here. No, it's not. We only got chicken fingers, and you already came to me and said you wanted a burger. You ventured off and tried to get a burger, and that burger was so good, but then it fucked your stomach up, and you came back here now because I didn't fuck your stomach up. But you want for me to apologize for fucking your stomach up because you went off, ate that burger, and all we got here is chicken strips. This is a reoccurring pattern for me, and I absolutely have to stop it. What does stopping this pattern look like? That's why we're here for self. As I process that and I talk about it, You know, it looks like staying focused. I have to dive into my divine masculine, and I gotta say no to shit. And this is the importance of boundaries. I gotta be like, nah, we can't take it there. I'd be like, nah, it seems like you only reach out to me for this like sexual energy exchange, as it 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 seems to be like a compensation for something else it is that you want. And I gotta be okay with rejection. Like not just experiencing it for myself, but also rejecting people's offers. And it's not even like I hate to use rejection, but it's just a declining of an offer. You can accept or reject an offer or decline an offer. Look, I'm talking about it's not rejection, then I use the word. Oh man. I can't keep personalizing what support looks like, especially when I don't even know what it's supposed to look like. Because, like I said, I'm selling chicken fingers. People can't come here looking for a burger or a Chinese food plate or a fish plate. And that's what I'm doing. Compromising my values looks like trying to make something out of not having what it is that's necessary. I don't have the ingredients for a hamburger. I got chicken strips. I need to stop that because Canes ain't paying me to give them this endorsement. And you can't go get no burger from somewhere else and then bring it to here and Raising Cane's and be like, yeah, can I just get some of that sauce? No. That's so ridiculous for something I would do. I would want to do that. I'm tearing up, man. My body's like tingling right now because this is what it feels like when that thing that is in your spirit is supposed to come out. You know, this podcast, this is my self-care. This is my identity care. This is where I get to explore, discover, experience, express, and educate myself through my own experiences. And so just looking at these last few situations, I also feel some type of way about the lack of reciprocity. And I don't want to, I've also developed friendships throughout my time as H on my chest, the founder of Something Positive for Positive People. So I don't want to just diminish those at all. But even some of those aren't reciprocal. And I'm not going to be a dick. But I do need to realize when I need to disengage and I need to disengage. And I don't always have to explain myself. So being a public figure, being the executive director of a nonprofit organization, a global nonprofit organization, I recognize that I need to be real careful with what I share, how I share, and who I share it with. Because regardless of what, personal stuff there is or how much trust, and I use air quotes when I say that, is developed between myself and another partner, person, friend, at the end of the day, man, like, people want what they want. And when I think it becomes more of a challenge when I gotta say, listen, I'm not available for that. Even just saying that to myself was hard. I'm not available to do that. I can't offer you the support that you need right now. And maybe that just needs to be a default message. But I can't commit to this mission and commit to being of service to people and be prioritizing my spirit and having people, even if it's an unconscious thing, like I'll post things and people are like, come at me for what that person said even. Like, hey, you see who's in the post? Like, go talk to that person. Like, if you don't support what my beliefs are, like, and a lot of people don't even read the captions to most shit. I'm like, okay, well, in here they say the very thing that you're arguing. So how about we read that? And it's just been a lot for me over these last 2 months of dealing with this and not knowing that it was impacting me. In one of my yoga teacher training classes, I was writing, and there was a day that suicide came up on 4 different occasions. that didn't drain me in any way, shape, or form. And in those dialogue exchanges, I recognize those are really fucking emotionally heavy topics. That is. To hear that someone lost their partner to suicide and their new partner is someone who struggled with suicide, and to hear that a person had cut themselves after a situation that they were in. I forget what the other one was. Oh, and a guy who told me that he tried to kill himself twice and didn't succeed. That's some heavy shit. That should be where the burnout comes from, right? Wrong, because that's what the fuck I'm here for. As I prioritize the needs of my spirit, I'm able to best support those 4 situations. I think it was just 3 people, but I'm best able to support those people when I'm not, needing to apologize for being backed into a corner to accommodate for some dude I'll never meet, or someone that did something to someone that I'll never meet or be able to say anything to, against, or fix anything. So when people come to me for that kind of support, I'm there for it. But when people come to me for, not what it is that I have to offer, I gotta disengage. And there have been a handful of times where disengaging has been the best decision that I could have made. So I'm choosing to disengage more, so that I can connect more with what is fueling me. Something positive for positive people is, again, it's my space manifested from the trauma of my emotional support. So that's my offering to the world. My offering is a healing space for people who are experiencing herpes, stigma, and in need of mental health resources. We can talk about that. But I think moving forward, I don't need to talk about Courtney anymore. Courtney gonna be alright. But those people who are being taken from, who need these services, and I'm getting angry with myself just thinking about it. Yeah, man. The prioritization of the body needs of sex and connection and being seen. I can go without that. This body ain't gonna last as long as my spirit is. So I can enjoy it while I got it. When those opportunities present themselves, I can explore that in the healthiest of healthy ways. But there's spaces for me to be able to do that, and I need to allow for myself to invest in those rather than mixing up where I'm at, and it's so slick how it happens every fucking time. Every time. And it's one of those things too where it requires me to, quote, put myself out there. I'm putting my spirit out there. That's what I'm doing. I'm prioritizing that. And the needs of the body, again, have been taken care of. Yeah. And I gotta trust that. I gotta trust my decision to disengage. I gotta trust my emotional awareness, my intuition to be like, hey, this is what their intentions are. This is what they want. Or when I express that curiosity, the second that there's a red flag or that it's not met, or when a person comes to me for something that isn't what it is that I'm offering, and then they become mad that I'm not giving this to them, that's an expectation. That's an expectation that I probably can't meet. That's an expectation that I probably am unaware of. That's an expectation that it's not mine. And I understand it now. I used to really get angry with people, would be like, that's not mine, or that's not for me to deal with, that's on you, that's your responsibility. But I get it now, because what that person is doing is they're disengaging from that which caused them harm, and there's something that they need from that interaction, that person, that place, that thing, and they go to a safe space in order to get it. Now, they want it the way that they want it. So if it's a matter of support from the perspective of herpes support or mental health support, you're going to get that here. But when it's, my boyfriend won't fuck me the way that I want him to fuck me, and then I'm asking questions, all right, well, did you communicate to him what you want? I'm a survivor, and that question isn't supportive. You need to apologize to me, is essentially what the situation that like reaffirmed these last few weeks was. Like hearing that and being asked for an apology for expressing curiosity, as I always have in my interactions with anyone who reaches out to me. I ask questions. Why is it now bad for me to ask the questions? Okay, the questions feel unsupportive. The questions can be triggering. All right, this is the way that I figure out how to support. How do I help? How do I protect you? How do I serve you? How do I support you? And like just after, and this one just hit harder, man. And over another situation today was just like not getting not even getting a remote. I put a lot into the people I'm invested in, a lot of emotional support, especially when they're not getting it where they actually want it from. This has been a pattern through my relationships, and friendships too. Let me say that as well. And so, like, to see the uplifting of people, spaces, things that will never reciprocate that back, and for me to just have like no acknowledgement in that, that this isn't an ego thing, it's just an observation. I've been very supportive to people in a sense of like, I don't feel entitled to anything, but it sends a message when, people who haven't been get that quality of recognition. So it's like, I often say this to people, men will do the bare minimum it takes to get the most out of their partners. And speaking from a heterosexual perspective, at least, why would I give more when doing what I'm doing now is enough to get what it is that I want? Is kind of what the narrative is. And I'm starting to see that everywhere. Like, I think that I go above and beyond. I think that making myself so available is such a good thing, but it's doing me more harm, because then now when people feel like entitled to that. People feel entitled to Courtney's emotional support because he's so readily available in regards to something positive for positive people. Now they want that personalized for themselves when they want it. But then the people who don't give them that, or who've harmed them, these are the people that get the reciprocity. That's been another thing. Boundaries. Let's talk boundaries. The only way to protect myself at this point and protect my community of people that I am actually offering and extending emotional support to, and these are often very short, one-time, two-time exchanges. That's okay. This can just be, but because I'm preventing burnout. Burnout comes when I emotionally invest in someone beyond what I've agreed to, committed to, and then that person become entitled to it looking the way that they want it to look when they want it to look that way. That's what it is. So what do my boundaries need to be? I think that my boundaries ought to be, I need to learn to disengage. Disengaging is going to have to be it. I have to disengage. I have to protect my space. I have to protect myself. I have to protect the people that I'm serving. And in yoga, there's ahimsa, which means nonviolence. And I find that oftentimes in doing no violence, not just physically, but also emotionally, in doing nonviolence out there to people now, long term, I'm doing internal violence to myself. So what does nonviolence look like in ahimsa? I believe that nonviolence looks like having boundaries. So, and being able to communicate that as well. So, hey, I am available for emotional support to someone who is struggling with herpes sigma, who is pursuing the next steps of seeking mental health services, right? Business life, personal life. I think that the people who get that much of me probably need to be people that I'm around, or people that are in person, or who there's opportunities for it to be a reciprocal relationship or reciprocated communication with one another. Because I recognize now that the burnout is coming from me freely giving it and trying to tailor it to people who want their own version of it. Like, this is not what we sell in here. And this comes from like a challenge of I want connection. I want genuine connection with me. But I'm making a sacrifice here because it's often not genuine. People are connecting with this idea of me and they're taking from that, and then I'm not seen because they're looking at the idea. No one's really ever present with me in that sense. I have some great people around me now who have grown along the way with me. One of my partners now, like, she even brought this up today. She's like, I want to be another one of your emotional support girlfriends. Like, you did that with your mom, did that with your girlfriend, and I'm starting to see how it played out with, she's starting to see how it played out with her in another relationship of everything that I just described here. Like, she said that. I was like, wow, I didn't have to say anything. You recognizing it now. Those are more of the connections that I need to welcome into my space, and I have to be mindful of boundaries that protect that. You know, I need to invest more in my homies. I need to invest more in my close in-person relationships, because that's it. I'm glad that I'm realizing this now. I wish this was something I could have covered in therapy, but shit, I fucked up. I was paying for other people's therapy and kind of just ran out of my own finances for the luxury of therapy for myself. But I'll be able to get back into it, and I am on the path to doing that, not just for myself but also others. So I can't keep letting myself get taken away from, or let my body deviate the energy that should be focused on the mission, deviating into territory of something else. So I gotta stop giving personalized support. That's me adapting my boundaries, conforming my boundaries to what another person thinks they want in that moment. It's not me staying true to my boundaries, and this is, again, the divine masculine, like, being decisive. I am decisive. This is what it is. I can't take anything less than that, because I've been in situations I had no business in. And I've set myself up for interactions that I had no business having. And so now, I'm going to free up a lot of my energy through whatever the boundary is going to look like, because I don't really know. Disengaging is what I can do when these feelings start to come up for me, when I'm starting to feel like a second choice or next best option, or when I feel like someone is asking for a personalized support from me directly. That's it. I think that's it. And it's different when these are real life connections, or when these are partnerships, or when there's just like a legitimate, like, super strong connection there that's realistic, because a lot of these connections aren't often anchored in reality. And saying that out loud fucking sucks, but that's real. That's the truth. That's the reality of it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna figure out the boundary situation, but I'm definitely gonna stop personalizing support. It feels good to be able to say this. It feels good to be able to get this out and have processed it. So I hope that from my situations that someone's able to learn something from this and take something from it. And I want to reiterate here too that, I'm an ally for sexual assault survivors. I'm always doing the work. I'm always learning. I'm always, like, I even check myself, in a sense of how many women have I potentially assaulted because they simply said yes then and then maybe didn't feel safe saying stop or saying no later. And how often has, a yes not really been a no? There's sexual assault by definition is not raping someone, having sex with them against their will. There's all these other elements that I've learned through sex education and seeing what consent looks like, what's not consent, what is consent. I feel like I've educated myself enough to, be able to even talk to my male friends about it. Like, yo, that ain't no, you be careful, get consent, get real consent. And even in navigating the discussions with survivors themselves and, like, what's the best way I can support you? Well, what you're doing is fine. Just expressing that curiosity. And so when this hit me really hard, because it's like, all right, man, what the fuck can I do? Because I'm doing what I've been taught to do, what I've learned to do. And now you're telling me that I'm doing harm. And the people who are part of this community are the ones who have part of this community. There should never be a fucking sexual assault survivor community. That should not be a thing. So saying that just it gave me a very uncomfortable feeling in my body. So I apologize for that one. But from women, hearing from them, from hearing from women who are survivors, hearing from them that my curiosity is enough or my interest is enough, like asking questions and learning how I can be supportive was right. But then when my asking questions in terms of figuring out how I can be supportive is met with, no, that's not what I want. You should have known what I wanted, and now I'm mad at you. You need to apologize, because I'm not going to get an apology from who I really want an apology from. And even if you do apologize, it's not going to make me feel any better. It's just going to reaffirm that when if I'm in this situation again, or if I'm feeling like this again, or feeling bad, then I can come to you and you'll know what I need. So it's like a conditioning, so to speak. So not apologizing for or giving what a person really wants from someone else, not being the one to give it to them, but supporting them in pursuing what it is that they need, however that may look, that's what I'm comfortable with. That's what feels right to me, especially given I've only demonstrated support in that way. So it's frustrating, man, but if this is what needed to happen in order for me to get the lesson or get the ball rolling or figuring out the lesson, then okay, yeah, I'm hurt. But I'm sure that my reaction to particularly the person I'm speaking about now was hurtful to them. I acknowledge that, I'm aware of it, and I even told them, I was like, yo, no response is a response, so I don't want to not respond because that sends a message. So I think that per what you've just shared with me about how my curiosity and interest is triggering for you and not doing any good, I think I'm going to disengage. It's best that I disengage, and then that becomes hard because it's like, yeah, I know I told you that you're doing harm, but leaving or walking away, disappearing is harmful as well. Like, what do I do with that? I'm backed into a corner to where the only rational solution here is for me to go get what it is that you want from the person that you want it from. And I recognize how many ways that just can't happen. So this was a deep one. I need boundaries. I need to fix this. I gotta stop giving people the sense of entitlement to Courtney because of who H on my chest is. And, again, this is just like a manifestation of visible representation of my spirit and my body. Courtney's like, hey, I'm trying to get some attention. I want some connection. So I think that it's better for me to connect with people on a soul level in particular areas, spaces, vehicles, whatever, And then for me to connect with people physically with my body through whatever you got to do that. Meeting in person, going on dating sites, and stepping my game up. If I got to dress better and get a car and move into a better place. But the needs of the body are always prioritized or taken care of when you prioritize the needs of the soul. So again, for you as well, don't be personalizing your support and emotional support to people. Have boundaries. I'm going to work on mine now. Thanks for listening.